So with that, and before we jump into the water sewer rates issue, Tom sent an email that had just a quick update about the status of water and sewer installations, or meter installations, excuse me. Confirmed installations completed at this point are 165, 33 attempted but can't be done because of alterations needed. These are the running totals: 8 structural, 25 plumbing. And they have about 30 installs scheduled in the next week. So things are starting to roll.
Yeah.
So one thing that we're gonna need to do is, as this continues, I think we're gonna need to come up with maybe a plan or a deadline or something to sort of not kind of assist these people with structural and plumbing stuff. Either come up with a recommendation for them or something so that we can, you know, next phase, get those people moving. It's not, I don't think we want to leave it hanging out there that, yeah, the city can't install it, so I'm not going to do anything.
The 33.
Yeah, because
far.
that number's going to grow, you know,
Yeah.
but
So
phase 2, let's call it phase 2.
Yeah.
Isn't there a pink slip? Aren't they giving them some sort of like pink slip about what changes are needed?
I don't know if that
Yes.
was
There's
it
a
created?
slip that's being left with the household that explains what the next steps would be and
Okay.
leaves a list of recommended plumbers to call.
Yeah.
And a significant number have made the call and
Good.
paid the fee
Right.
and, paid the plumbers to do the work. So
Yeah.
actually, I'm pretty pleased because the fact that it's only 33 out of 190,
Yeah.
right, or 95 is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So, as part of that, we're going to get to this issue. At what point do you decide that it's totally uneconomical to renovate an existing structure, either structurally or plumbing wise, to put a meter
Right.
in? What's the cutoff point?
Yep, exactly.
$1,000, $2,000, $5,000. And then for that group that can't be done economically, we would need a policy, a procedure for confirming that that's the case, number one, and then number two, in our rate structure on an ongoing basis. Once we come up with a procedure for that confirmation, we'll need a special rate for confirmed impracticable,
yeah.
uninstallable
Yeah.
situations.
Now, if you jump back to what we did at Campbell's, when they put the water line in, they ended up fronting the money, which the users then repaid.
Yeah, but that was a case of extending municipal water service to
Yeah.
an entire neighborhood
Yeah,
and doing a special assessment. It's a little different than, say, trying to put water meters in at the little condos to the west of the gateway where you're going to hit a water table and have to build some kind of specialized water type
yeah.
underground structure to hold meters, and you're going to get into
It's true,
well
but
into
should
five
this-
figures for what, 6 houses?
Yeah, and then the question, no, I think the question is, now if you have people who have already gone to plumbers recently to get their meter installed, if we say, oh, we'll pay up to $1,000 for that, then they could come back,
I wasn't suggesting we were going to pay anything.
oh, okay,
Yeah, was just suggesting there should be a cutoff point at which you're not going to require the
Yeah.
homeowner to
Okay.
do
Yes.
it because
Just show some level of
because
reasonableness.
the
in this process.
economics just
Yeah.
aren't there.
yeah,
Or it's,
okay,
or
I
in the case of
misunderstood, because
those
yes, I
waterfront
agree with that.
condos. I mean,
Right.
Tom thinks that it would end up being a very significant construction project for very little gain.
So-
or-
But before we got to that, I think Tom and his guys need to do their due diligence in researching other meters instead of the standard Neptune meter that they
Oh.
can install.
That might be an
Whether it's
alternative, easier to do.
an ultrasonic clamp-on meter, whether there could be, right now we're going with standard Neptune meters.
Yeah.
There may be something out there, I mean, it's it's been 10 years since I played
And even
around.
if we had to pay
Or
you know,
even if we have to
more
have
for,
the
more for
man,
those special meters,
Right,
it would make sense for us to do it.
or even if we have to have them manually read.
or manual, yeah. I mean, there could be, I mean, technology changes all the time.
I got a dumb question. What stops us from putting the meter
At the curb.
at the curb? Yeah.
Well, you need a meter pit.
Some
sort of an
no
in-ground-
underground meter option.
Well, not in Vermont,
Okay.
just because of the frost.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you, I mean, most of these lines are installed, like, I just opened a curb stop up at the Bayview the other day, and you know, it was a good 3.5 feet below
Was it?
surface, so that would be below frost line, right?
No.
Not
So
quite.
that curb stop.
That's the wrong answer, by the way.
Yeah.
So that curb stop should have a rod on it, so that you don't need a full length wrench to go all the way down to the curb stop. So when you put a curb stop in, you pin a rod so that it's higher.
Oh, then the actual
That
line.
Yeah.
water line should be 5 feet down.
Uh-huh.
So you might be 8.
I might not be at the water line, that didn't even occur to me.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
You could just be hitting the stem of the curb
Yeah,
stop.
it's way down there.
You might be able to put a surcharge on the meter if it costs more money. Obviously, you don't want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 upgrading, but if the meter costs maybe $250 more than the average meter that you are using, you might be able to charge that to the homeowner.
Yeah.
Right.
In the same way that we're asking them to settle, to take the cost of
Yeah.
the odd install
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think just a little due diligence before we say,
Yeah.
Love it,
Yeah.
create this.
that's great.
Yeah.
We've got some other quirks too, because I was talking to Stacy. We got people in Newport Center who are on our water line. They're right by the water tower. Who buys their meter?
Wait.
Well, they're
Explain
in
that again.
they're a
Sorry.
city.
They're
Newport
in Newport town.
Yeah,
How
they're a
do we
city.
force them to?
If they're paying their water bill to us, seems to me it's no
Yeah.
different than
Yeah.
a resident, is it?
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right,
wouldn't think so.
but they aren't a resident, so are we going to buy them a water meter? Are we gonna install a water
Sure.
meter?
No, I would say,
If they're our service, if they're hooked up to our service, then yeah, it's the same treatment.
Okay.
There are
That's
only
what I would
about
say.
1 or 2 of those on the Newport Center side.
There are 2 on Newport Center, there are 2 on Derby, and Stacy doesn't know about the new people who will be picked up because they're gonna pick up, from where the water tower is. I gather we're gonna end up with some Derby people when that goes online, who are gonna be on
it's
Newport
online,
water.
and Tom, I think, has already switched those meters out.
Okay,
Yeah, you're gonna pick up the apartment house,
I think,
Yeah,
and
and
then
the other
Greg
commercial
House
locations.
office, and
House,
then,
yeah.
and then All Seasons Realty and the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Those are the Derby ones.
yeah.
And I could be wrong.
And Derby Time Mall is also.
Oh, right, and then.
Yeah, and that one's sort of a quirky one too.
Oh, and then Delabria Auto too, or
Yeah.
whatever they call it.
North
Yeah.
Point.
GMC place.
Yeah. Derby Line, mall there, house, whatever, is, I think only on sewer. This is
So-
my second note.
Do we have agreements, like with Newport Center, for feeding their customers? So they own the infrastructure and we just bill the water?
Doubtful.
In the case of Newport Center, I didn't even know we had a Newport Center customer until I got on this committee. No idea.
Yeah.
I-
I would
What
say
do you mean by
probably-
we own the infrastructure? Like what part?
Or
of
they
it?
own, well, I don't know if they extended a small main or if they just ran a service line or
Sounds like it's
who
service.
owns what? I
I
mean,
can-
do we actually own infrastructure in Newport Center?
I would say yes.
I can tell you where the
So we have right of ways?
Hmm?
We have right of ways and stuff to repair it?
Who knows?
It's probably.
That's where I'm going with this.
It's
Yeah.
You know?
It's probably in the state highway right of way as a practical.
Well, yeah, and I don't think the Newport Center is going to stop us from repairing a line like under the road. But are you talking about?
Right, but
Do we
what-
need to own anything beyond the road?
what
Because we
stuff
wouldn't otherwise.
Depends on where the curb stop is.
Depends on what the curb stop is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if we've run a 2-inch line to feed two houses, you know, we don't have an agreement that we own that 2-inch line. What's stopping Newport Center from just extending that 2-inch line someday? If they think it's in their town, they own it. I'm not saying they would, I'm devil's advocate here, that's all.
Because their
Just
water
from my
system doesn't go
experience.
You're a
that far.
pessimistic man,
Yeah.
Mr. Tice.
Yeah,
No, it's just, you know, from my experience, anytime you cross a town boundary,
Yeah.
there needs to be an agreement.
you have to
Right.
realize that their water system is probably
Well-
a mile and a half away.
Right.
Oh, I realize
Well,
that.
and that's what- and
That's,
And there's also some really weird, quote, town boundaries. I mean, there's some very strange lines
Right.
Yeah.
that make no
Right.
sense.
Well, they look good on paper and
Yeah.
they looked good historically, but with the way the roads are laid out now, they're pretty strange.
my
Okay.
point is,
Yeah.
going forward.
I got your point.
Yeah,
You know, as we try to better our water and sewer department and make things more clear cut, those are things that should be looked at. Not saying we need to tackle it now.
Jennifer, you're saying these are right by the water tower?
yeah. I think it's, from what Stacy described to me on the phone, it's right up past the water tower.
Yeah,
The one with the nice tree,
One of them is the first house on
On
the
the
south
left.
side of the road after the water
on
tower.
the south side.
The speckled dog in the.
I mean, looking at our
Listen,
map,
have you
looking
ever seen
at,
that tree? It's a beautiful Christmas tree. It's
looking
lit
at
up
our
in the
mapped
river.
water line, it must be
must
that
be
they
teed
just
off.
tee into
Yeah.
Newport property.
Yeah.
Newport for some reason did that, I know. We got another sort of quirk, the Derby Village Square is on non-metered sewer
In
because
fact,
it doesn't get water from
The
us.
curb stops are on Newport property.
Oh, how interesting.
So it looks like there's 2 units that are hooked up
Yeah.
right here,
Yeah.
each with their own tee out of the
Yeah.
water main from the tower.
Yeah, and the curb stops are on the city lot, it looks like.
It looks, I mean, as far as we can see.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're on the line of the
So we're
property.
okay up there.
Up there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So,
That's a great map.
What I don't fully
it's come in
understand
handy once.
is what's gonna,
Out of
is what's
place.
gonna happen with these water services that we've picked up on the East Main. I don't really get who owns what up there.
And that's one of the confusions, but, you know, because, you know, we've got a metered rate and a non-metered rate, so if they're metered, even though they're outside of the city limits, that's gonna be fine, but yeah, the ownership of the lines is
Okay,
a problem.
all right, duly noted.
So,
Yeah.
you know, we'll come back to that, but can we
Yeah,
back up
exactly.
a little bit? We talked about, one of the first things was how we're gonna set these kind of billing schedules for people who don't have retrofittable meter hookups.
That needs to be added to a future.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
It needs to
wasn't-
be added, yeah, sure, we need to collect some information from those 33,
When
what
we
up,
get closer to the end,
sure,
where
yeah,
sure.
we know how many, a real number of how many we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, you know, I feel as though the fair thing, the equitable thing to do would be the city pays for whatever meter assembly is required to measure the flow, just like we did for everybody else.
Good.
And anything structural or plumbing or underground from curb stop towards the house is the obligation of the landowner, because whether the hardware costs a little bit more, it's still the principal amount that we are buying the hardware for the meter, right?
Yes.
Right, and then the question is whether we have a special rate and
If it's deemed infeasible.
affirmatively vote for the infeasible ones, so
Yeah.
that there's a paper trail that they're infeasible until
Yeah.
they do some other project on their property that's of
or,
sufficient.
or
Which one we
just,
require
just
the
take
upgrade?
the ledges, the 4 places on the ledges.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a special case because
Yeah.
of the above ground water line.
Yeah,
And that's, yeah, that is being reduced because at least one of those people drilled a well this summer.
oh, okay.
I found out from one of the other people that lives out
Oh,
there
what
that
a
has a
small
well.
Yeah, so there's a problem there. Do we have a cross connection between a well and city water? Are they feeding both into the same residence?
Why, cause it backflush or something?
Yeah. You don't want to bring untreated well water into a municipal system.
Yeah.
There needs to be a complete cap and cut.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that like a zoning permit thing?
There is something in our water ordinance right now about not being able to get service from two places. I didn't bring the ordinance with me, but there's something in there that it's not legal to bring in
Right.
your own water source.
Yeah.
John, if you've got a name on that one, it sounds like something that actually is timely. I should follow up on it. If you can send me an email with the name.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what the name is. I just heard that it was.
I think I
happening.
do.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
As this is too weird. I honestly think they were in the shop today.
Really?
Your shop, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Small
Hope
town,
you got their picture.
small town.
You might have their name, which he's not going to speak at this meeting, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay, I would be happy
Yeah.
on behalf of the city to follow up and inquire about whether or not there's a possible cross-contamination
Yeah.
there. Okay.
And that would take a physical
Yeah.
inspection from Tom or Jason.
Or Corey or
And-
somebody.
Or
While,
somebody.
while you're on that, the other thing Stacy brought up is that there's a house that's being torn down that has a meter in it. We have no policy about returning your meters if you,
I don't think we want it, right?
No, we want them. If there's a meter, we want it because we can calibrate it and reuse it somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's one, and according to her, numerous meters have been lost during the time that the buildings have gone down over the years, but,
Is-
you know.
Does the
That's
city
3 or
have a
4.
permit process for tearing a building down?
They do, but I guess it doesn't say, and if you have a water meter, return it.
Well, that needs to be written in
Yeah,
here.
and this is one of the things, and, you know, Stacy has brought that up. She said she designed sort of a form apropos of, you know, reassigning your water allocation, yeah, type thing, which is literally, I think, the same type of thing. So these are a few of the things, because I said anything else you can think of. And she said no, and then I complained when the phone rang, and I had been home for about 3 minutes. And I said, "Oh, your brain got in here," and she said yes. So, yeah, we had a long chat about it.
So we
Yeah,
So
and
we-
we've got a number of quirky ones that are around, but we agreed after the next billing, the two of us would get together and see if we can get a list of some of the quirks. Because this is something that, you know, has been on, at least on my mind. You see it in some of the numbers, and we went through who's a metered, you know, non-resident, non-metered resident. And that was in one of the sheets I sent you. I did, as a matter of fact, I think you guys have these. I do have one of these that, if I explain it to you, you can understand, but it shows what the proposed rate increase is, and I'll give it to
I'll
you.
look it up.
And what the effect is, but it's by user on one of those, which shows some of our quirky little reusers. And also the other thing I sent out, which was what for, more for Paul, which is, and Tom's not here, labor and equipment fees. We didn't
Right.
raise them last time, and whether those need to be reviewed, but I think that's something that Tom needs to do.
Do we have any indications to like whether we do any of that work for people?
We occasionally do, yes.
Okay.
It's not a big moneymaker, I don't think, not very common, but.
I mean, just looking at these labor and equipment rates are nowhere near enough.
Well, that's what you
Yeah.
said 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are,
Yeah,
that's
they're
what I
cheaper than
sent
like
out.
what we had,
Oh,
we were
they're-
charged of our
Yeah, and
shit.
that's the labor, which I didn't send out.
You could easily raise them 25%.
I think we need to talk to
Well-
Tom about it, but yeah,
Well,
and that's, I
the
think,
backhoe, the loader, the grader, those rates are all definitely low compared to
Oh, yeah.
hiring one
I mean,
at Sandville's or Ghostlands.
I don't know if like V-Trans has standard rates for that specific of equipment usage. But there are definitely standard prices and rates for,
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't think V-Trans would because, I mean, if it's not their own stuff, they're gonna tell you to
Yeah,
hire it out.
yeah.
that's what I'm saying, they would have going market rates for what they've paid
Oh,
over the
yeah,
past
I mean,
years.
yeah, going market rate's not what they would bill. Gotcha. Okay.
So
Can I back this
ask
up?
you- I'm sorry, can I ask you on this, how much would the average person's rate go up, bill go up?
it's just over $50 for
I'm
water.
sorry?
Just over $50
More
water,
per
yeah.
quarter.
It's $18.01 usually, and the other one,
3207?
yeah,
And-
yeah.
and go ahead, Don.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give that back.
So, for me, Jennifer, can you, because I'm totally outside this at this point and I don't have the foggiest idea how I would do it if I were trying to do it, can you just give me a layperson's description of the calculations that you've gone through to try and,
Oh,
just so I have a basic understanding if somebody asks me?
The calculations are simple. We sat at this table at the last meeting and came up with how much money was necessary to basically, Patrick has the list, it's what he sent you. Retire the note, pay the notes as needed. The water department, we added in the requirement that they've had so many turnovers to get one part-time replacement at a few hours, also to assist with installing the meters.
And we restored the $66,000 item for that well,
For the arsenic,
Testing.
out of the arsenic plant
Yes.
fund thing
Yeah.
for the well
Yeah.
redevelopment.
right.
So,
We
yeah.
put that in, and then the other quirk is that one of the bonds, I keep forgetting whether it's water or sewer, but in any event, 3 payments
Yeah,
before June 30, 2025, but only 2 billing cycles for water and sewer.
that's
So we had to
sewer.
figure the cash,
Yeah.
sewer, so we had to figure the cash flow,
Yeah.
or figure enough cash
Yeah.
into it to cover 3 payments rather than 2.
Yeah.
After, beginning July 1, 2025, we'll have 4 billings, 4 payments, and it'll even out.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
we have
So-
that quirk
Yeah.
for this year.
So what we tried to do to run through it, the water budget was 202,000 for the loan portion. We put in 10,000 for tank maintenance, anything like that, because there's nothing in for maintenance. Audit was showing,
Right,
that
was the
the
question I
audit-
asked the other
yeah.
night, about covering what the audit showed
Yeah.
as the June 30, 2025 deficiency.
36,000.
That's figured in there.
Yeah, so that's a total of 248,000. Of that, available in the current budget is 195, which leaves us with 53,000 due. The well redevelopment, if possible, was gonna add 66,000 onto it. And that was basically $16 per quarter over 4 quarters across the 1,800 users. And then we had the part-time employee, which was gonna add 10, so it became $17.92. It became $18, because Patrick said round it up. When I looked at the figures, one of the requests downstairs is to have the base rates something simple. And so if we put that at $18 and either 1 cent, the highest increase I think is 7 cents, it would make everybody either a $0 or 75 cents, something that wasn't carried out to and 0.03 cents.
Right.
So that's where I got that. Sewer adjustment is here, which is to cover the 3 payments of the payback, the
payback for
the 1 million.
the loan we haven't
Yeah.
yet taken.
Yeah.
And did you at that point have the number that we're,
I asked Ellen to give me an amortization table showing the
Yeah.
payment. And that's
on how much? On 1 million?
Yeah,
That was
okay,
one-
no,
On 873 or 875?
That was 1.8.
yeah, bear with me.
No,
and
that's
I'll
the
find
general
it.
No, yeah.
It was
I had it
down
here.
to 890.
875 is the last I understood.
Yeah,
Okay, so what it's based on is the payment figure that we used is based on 874,000
Yes,
at
okay.
5.29% amortized over a straight 10-year period.
that was the decision we made, was a straight 10-year period. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what she gave us.
Good. That actually confirms an email that Ellen sent me an hour ago. I'll just read it to you. Rick, I intended to have the draft documents to you today. However, in pulling together the resolution, questions came up from our council specifically surrounding the 874,000 water WS note. That's not water and sewer, it's just sewer, right? Sewer note. And if it will be considered tax exempt borrowing. I am waiting on further clarification from him. In the meantime, would it be possible for you to create a cash flow certificate showing the deficit created in the WS department? I guess she's
What?
asking.
She's lumping water and sewer
Yeah,
together.
okay. You may already have something from all the work you did to determine where you stand, question mark. Let me know if you have questions. So I can follow up on that tomorrow with her, with Chip and Carrie. But yes, 874 is the sewer note that will satisfy the due to others line as of June 30, 2025.
Right.
yeah.
And based on that concept, that's why we just picked the June 30, 2025 water figure out of the audit
I got it.
and figured that in on the water side.
Excellent, okay.
And that was the question I asked Chip the other night to make sure that that's what he had in mind.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we're all on the same.
And the other thing, it looks like Chip has narrowed us down and we aren't gonna try and ask for more than 1.3 million for the general fund instead of the 1.8 million. He and I think Jim, I haven't really talked with Jim about this at this point, I think that we're gonna be able to manage our cash flow without that extra $500,000. And it will be a lot cleaner for future bookkeeping, for people to understand in the future what we did, if we can immediately and obviously justify why we took the 1.3 million, which we can. So the good news for the community is we're actually talking about borrowing $600,000 less than we asked for approval to borrow on those two notes.
This morning at the Finance Committee, and I'm sorry there is not any other overlap other than Pam and I, Chip was talking about
Patrick's supposed to know. Carter swore she was going to tell him. We didn't believe it, but she swore she was.
Have you seen your wife today?
Chip
For
was
about 5 minutes.
Yeah, doesn't count then.
Right.
Chip was talking about the fact that billing out of, for instance, the downstairs office now, if it's going to be quarterly, there'll be more general fund salary for that billing. It will be equal to the water and sewer billing, as opposed to it being only twice a year. It'll be so that things are going to be adjusted with respect to salaries. And he seemed to imply that it might have an impact on water and sewerage rates eventually. And I said to him, you know, we are not billing, if you're going to bill water and sewer for more things, the city is not paying for all the water and sewer that it uses. For instance, at the individual parks, at the camp, we're not getting the sewer and water component of the camp fee. Recreation has said that they've never
That's a
paid,
significant amount.
they've never paid for water.
I've seen the rates, what's there, yeah.
That the rec department doesn't pay for water and sewerage. The fire department as well, I don't know what happens when it fills up its trucks,
So
but.
we talked
water-
about this months ago, didn't we?
We talked about it, but it did not get covered, and water and sewer, in other words, Chip is saying, whatever department you're in, you should be billing for the service. For instance, we pay electricity, you know, we give a private enterprise, we pay the bill. the water and sewer departments are supposed to be, quote, enterprise funds. They're supposed to run like a business, and they should be billing for the water that comes through their system and the sewage that comes back. And we're not getting all of that money. The money from the city is not being paid to water and sewage for the service that's being provided to the city. In addition, another part of that comes out is, well, he said, what about the fire hydrants? And he said in a lot of cities, and you would know this, Paul, and you might know many other ways that fees should be charged, that if you're within 600 feet, if your residence or your building is within 600 feet of a fire hydrant, there is a fee charged for the fact that you are going to potentially have that as fire protection. And you pay a fee per year for that. And I don't know what other fees there should be, but I think that, not with respect to probably this rate change, but in terms of the budget that's coming, water and sewer should be charging just the way any other utility would charge for anybody who's using their service.
So I want to back up a little bit. Firstly, I'm under the impression that like things like Prouty Beach are metered.
There are 9 what are referred to as data meters where we have the usage.
But not billing.
They are not billed
Okay,
out.
so
There
let's
is-
pause
yeah.
on that, knowing that. I don't see how a publicly available resource useful to any and all residents being charged interdepartmentally does anything more than create administrative burden to the city if we're just taking money from one department and paying the other, if it's all being covered in the end by taxpayers.
It's not, it's being paid by.
We're doing that with electricity because we're paying a utility for it.
This
We're
is
not,
a utility.
it is, but the department might have their own budget for a utility that they pay and that they can allocate each year. And they're using that that energy, right, to provide a service to the community. But ultimately, it's the city of Newport and the residents of Newport that are utilizing a resource generated by the city of Newport to serve the residents of Newport. So I don't understand how we're going to make money with interdepartmental
We
billing
didn't
to
say-
cover our
We're
costs.
not,
Okay,
we're
hold
not,
on. I
Nobody
want to
said-
hear, Paul, you were going to say something, and I'm hoping you're going to talk a little bit about what happened at Champlain Valley.
So I agree. So there should be interdepartmental billing, absolutely, because Prouty Beach is renting out camping spaces, correct? They're collecting revenue for that, but they're not paying for the utility that they're collecting revenue for.
But
So-
doesn't that revenue go back into the general fund?
No, it goes back in the
To
recreational
the
fund.
department,
Which is the general fund.
which is the general fund.
They're not broken out separate.
Well, the
Okay,
general
so-
fund covers the recreation.
So you're going to get into a situation where water and sewer is funding the general fund.
Right.
Because you're using water and sewer resources to collect money to go to the general fund. You're not collecting, in every municipality that I have ever worked with in Chittenden County, you bill, if Parks and Rec uses water, there's a meter and you bill them.
And is it
if-
the same going rate as a residential? Is it cheaper?
Yes,
Is it-
no, it's the same rate. They are a user. They pay the same
So
user.
just when looking through the lens of Mike, how does Mike afford a utility bill? Like he might get a grant for a project or a program, but he's using the general fund to pay a utility bill back to.
He budgets for it.
He budgeted
Short
for it, and
short
he
answer is, it depends on the kind of income. Up at Prouty Beach, he would be charging enough from the campsite users.
correct.
Yeah.
Daily
To
rate,
cover
seasonal
to
rate.
cover his cost of their
Yeah.
water,
But
right?
we
Yep.
also can take the municipal building here. The only one who does pay back is the treatment plant, sewer treatment.
To the water
plant, to the water
department, for
department.
water they use.
And I think that the only thing in favor of building the data meters is particularly for the sake that you look and realize the enterprise fund those are two totally separate funds and not literally city funds. And yes, it is paperwork, but you could do it sort of en masse. But we've got, the ball fields, we've got, Gardner Park, Proudy, the city dock. And
I feel like we've
Yeah.
had this conversation again. We
Yeah.
looked at the usage and it's not high.
The interesting thing is I flowed the usage and didn't bother to send it to anybody because they'd go bonkers. We have the usage for every single quarterly bill, August 25 going back to I think February of 2014 with one quarterly bill missing.
So if I could just speak to this for a moment. I did have a conversation with Chip, you should know. He followed up with me this afternoon, though I was running really fast today. But we did talk about it. And I understand the point he's making. And his point is, you're really talking about a balance sheet issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Not an income.
We're not going to bill, Mike's not going to write a check.
Yeah.
Right? But we are going to make a balance sheet adjustment so that we show that the water fund in this case is not going deeper into debt in the interest of trying to cover a cost of the general fund, right? And
Right.
so it's really a balance sheet
Or
adjustment.
subsidize the rec department.
They're not
for
subsidizing the
instance.
rec
Yeah,
department,
okay,
exactly.
right.
So in that way, I think it does make sense. I think Ann's point is well taken, which is that I don't see us trying to fix that in the next week for this rate adjustment. But I do think it's worthwhile. And I'll just say, we're also doing the flip side, which is a recommendation that Chip has that I worked with him quite a bit on yesterday with the department heads, which is that I think where we're headed, we're going to try and talk through this with all of the department heads tomorrow in detail. But I think where we're headed is that we will no longer divide a person's salary into three different funds. If Tom being the classic example of this, right? Right now we're doing 30, 30, and 40% or something like that for the three different funds, general, water, and sewer. In the future, what we're recommending, what Chip is recommending, and I think I concur, is that all of Tom's salary will show up in the general fund. When the water fund needs Tom's time, it will be billed for Tom's time by the general fund. So it's the same thing but in reverse, right? The general fund will cover the cost of his salary and we will allocate it, and it may be just those same numbers, right? We may not have to get super specific about it. But the best example of that was, somebody said yesterday, well, if we are going to do like a whole sewage treatment upgrade, and all of a sudden the city manager discovers that he or she is spending, 50% of their time for a period of a quarter on that project, then it will be appropriate for that project to be billed by the general fund to cover that. It'll make it a lot cleaner, I think.
Yeah.
So we're talking about going both directions.
I'm sorry to laugh about that specific example because that's the absolute classic of how water sewer got ripped off for several
I understand.
years.
Right.
We're trying to address it.
Yeah.
Good.
That's exactly right.
That is exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah, so we're headed that
Um,
direction tomorrow. I'm meeting back to back all day
Yeah.
with every department head, and that's where we're headed.
Good.
So, on another point you brought up, Ann, I've never heard of people getting charged more for having a hydrant near their house. That, in my tenure, I've never heard of that. I mean, it's just part of this.
Almost everybody would get that surcharge because almost everybody is within 600
In this
feet
town, right?
in this town. And so it would just be another way of, you may not want to monitor how much water is coming out of the fire hydrant just to be able to bill the city for that amount.
Right,
but-
I mean,
I don't
in
think
the
that's
fire,
allowed in our
what was that?
ordinance. I don't think billing for the fire is allowed in the ordinance.
Well,
No.
it's unrealistic anyway.
Yeah.
You could bill for training, like the last
Yeah.
few nights, they just been blowing water out, which also brings up another sidebar here, but they need to be dechlorinating that water before it hits the Clyde River.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any dechlorination pucks out there.
There are
On
times
my
when they
list.
used to pull it out of the lake and
Yeah.
do it that way.
But you could, for training, you could meter for training because they know when they're gonna train, they know what hydrant they're gonna train off. You could bill the fire department for training water. That's reasonable. Billing for firefighting water, that's just the nature of the beast. You
Yeah.
do what you gotta do.
Okay.
But,
But also, I think that if the city were billed for its water usage, it might not wind up sort of lumped in how much water we're losing. That we have, you know, all the stuff that we're metered, including everything with the city, and then we have the loss of water somewhere.
We
It's
already have
clearer.
the data, so we already, those gallons are factored into our total gallons. So-
We already know how to
Yeah.
monitor that so that when
Yeah.
when we look at slippage or loss,
Yeah.
Okay.
we're already accounting for that.
And
But you're
that's-
right.
That's what I'm saying, we've got all of that history going back, 10
But for
plus
the
years.
same reason that you want to meter people so that they use less water, the city, if it's not paying for the water it uses, you know, what difference does it make?
I don't know.
How much water you run through a shower?
Yeah.
Um,
I think we,
But I think if we are rational, it is basically the city dock in Prouty Beach and you can't control that. Otherwise, Gardner Park doesn't have major,
Irrigation,
yeah, they've got
none of that.
irrigation type thing,
And maybe maybe the
Yeah.
ice rink in the
well,
Yeah.
and in the new misters, right?
Yeah.
But council
Misters
actually
are
did, I
one.
think, a
Yeah.
really good move on that last
Yeah.
spring.
it's like a couple hundred gallons a day.
Right, it's
Yeah,
nothing, it's not a big
that
deal.
much,
yeah. So it's one of those things, I mean, the ones we won't be able to control it because there's no way of telling, the people at, the city dock or the campground, you're only gonna be allowed a 5-minute shower.
So I guess my other question to Paul then is there any other thing that we should be charging for in the infrastructure that we're not doing right now?
well, pause that question. So, are you saying that we shouldn't bill them? Or,
Well, what I'm saying is you can't, how can you rationally say that if they see their bill, they're gonna cut down on their usage? Because these
well,
are.
you're not,
Yeah.
you're not, but you
But
need
that's-
to,
yeah.
you need to bill them for their usage.
Oh, I'm fully 100%
Okay,
behind
okay,
billing them for their
okay.
usage.
Okay,
I was
You
surprised.
can cut down, for example, at the showers at Prouty Beach that everybody and their entire family uses. They could have a timer. That's really quick and easy. Because people leave that
Okay,
water
a
running.
conversation for another day, however.
right, right,
I
but
love
yes.
that in Ireland. but-
So, so yeah, I mean,
Just suddenly, it's amazing how quick water can
Right.
get cold.
the right way to do it is whoever uses water gets a bill.
Yeah, and
So-
that's,
And if they're connected to the sewer, they get the sewer
Yeah,
bill also.
And we can
as-
institute that, for the next billing cycle.
Well,
Right.
and in terms of the rec,
Right.
Prouty Beach and the dock, then that gives them a more realistic estimate of their overhead from the point of view of rate setting too.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
It tells them what they should be charging for anybody who comes up to the dock and wants to use their hose.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then when we get into the leak study that I'm pushing for, we actually have real numbers.
Yeah.
So, so back on your question about additional revenue. So I don't know if I just overlooked this previously or if for some reason it's just jumping out at me, but I'm looking at Jennifer, your spreadsheet, which is labeled water sewer 2025 increase 1016.
Okay.
So water allocation / application fees and sewer allocation / application fees. Those need to be increased by like 100% to 200%.
And you didn't overlook those. This is part of why I said we need to decide about the labor and equipment.
Right.
And this one was in there, and I purposely left it because it has nothing to do with what I was doing.
Right.
But I left it in there because it's one of the fees.
Because right now, for a new resident to tap into our water main, it's $46.64. That doesn't even cover 1 hour of an employee's time
Yeah.
to look at the paperwork.
Right, I've heard you say that before.
And I'm assuming, so there's a couple ways to do it. You could build the meter into the application fee. The allocation permit fee should be different for residential versus commercial or industrial, because industrial or commercial taxes the system more than the residential does.
Which is already there.
Those numbers are grossly low, and on both. I mean,
And
when we did it, we had an actual calculation sheet. You got charged for the size of the pipe that you were tapping into. You got charged for what was considered your average daily use. Basically, think of the auto world. You got charged for documentation fees. You paid. You're a new customer. Existing residents, I'm not sure. I mean, that's an increase in usage, which potentially could require a lot of legwork. I mean, to have an application fee under $200 or $300 is it's a loss. I mean,
So,
And
You can't even
we
cover
did discuss
photocopies.
this last time, and the problem was we were in such a rush, we didn't
Right,
address it.
right.
Which is, one of the things is, we're gonna get it backed into a corner. This has to be resolved by Monday.
well, increase everything by 500% and let's go.
well, actually, that one's relatively painless, right? I mean,
Right.
honestly, we're not doing very many new installations.
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
like, this isn't gonna make a ton of money for anything.
No, but
No,
it sets a
it's
new
not-
precedent.
Sure.
Right.
So
yeah.
that it's enforceable when somebody decides to bring a new development online, right?
Right.
So whether we do it this quarter or next quarter, I agree entirely with Paul's point, that it ought to be done sooner.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those
And
aren't
that's-
even on this list, are they?
They're here,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. It's why I put it there, guys, because we've ignored it since we did the
Right.
rate increase. But we
You know, if-
also have to resolve, is the rate increase enough?
Yeah.
Say, I'll pick on him because he's in my backyard. Say Andy at
Oasis.
Oasis
Yeah.
took that 6 acres and divided it into 6 1-acre lots, and
Oh, I got no problem with what
they
you're
tapped
saying.
right. And I'm trying to use an
Yeah.
example of a application fee.
Yeah,
So they decide they're going to put a hydrant in there, so they're going to need at least a 6-inch main. That 6-inch tap, the application fee alone should be in the thousands of dollars because of the burden it's putting on the existing water
Okay,
system.
then here's my recommendation. That does sound like it needs more calculation and thought in it.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is we table this for tonight,
Right.
make our recommendations about the rate adjustments, and come back to this conversation in the next quarter, and then come back with
Yeah,
a recommendation.
Like, we need the last 2-3 years of applications to look at, like, comparables of, like, what are people actually proposing, what are they
Well-
being charged, what influence or effect does it have on the system, how much actual staff time does it take? Because otherwise we're just throwing shit at the wall and figuring
The
out
other,
what
the other
sticks.
thing we need to
Not-
do, the other thing we need to do, which suggests we should put this on the agenda for a future meeting, but we could certainly put it in get it done for a quarter from now, is that it ties into potentially the water ordinance, the sewer ordinance, and it ties in to that massive specifications document, the 200-page thing. I was reading part of that the other day to see what impact changing the water and sewer ordinances has on that. And there are actually application forms in those that set forth fees. So we'd have to update all of those documents as part of this.
So, yeah. So, I don't always agree with Rick when he says we can't look at the history, we gotta move forward. But on this instance, we can't look at history because we need to look at current salaries, current time. The number of
Could you
connections.
give me a little clip of just that portion of the video?
But Paul, like, how are we gonna know what it takes of the staff in the departments without
we
looking
sit down.
back?
We sit down with them because it's not documented. They're not documenting. Tom's not documenting if a 6-lot development comes in. He's not documenting that he spent 3 hours looking at the plans and analyzing the specs. He's just saying he spent 3 hours on water on a given day. The only thing we're gonna see is that somebody paid a new residential tapping fee. You know, there really should be. I'm trying not to go big city here. There really should be. Every new applicant that comes in needs to look at the load on the system, whether it's residential, whether. So if you've got a street that has an old cast iron 4-inch main, and you've got a development going on it, that impact in that area is a lot greater than a new 12-inch main. So there's you're building in also you're also building in you need to build in capital funds into applications fee because every new application puts more stress on your system, which you need to plan for in the future to increase main sizes and stuff like that.
And so when we look at these new residential application fees, is this per property, per unit, per bedroom? Like, how do we?
It will be, so you'll have your base fee, and then in your base fee, you're gonna figure out if you're gonna provide the meter or if the meter is gonna be billed separately, stuff like that. But then you're looking at the load on the system and how much of that was your systems, and I'm hopeful that Tom knows what the reserve capacity of the system is. Because, what was that?
The allocation permit fee, which is based on gallons per day,
Right.
ties into something I saw in that specs ordinance.
Exactly. And-
Relating to load on the system.
Right.
And so that's at least part of that. I mean,
Right.
otherwise, so
Because
that would take into account the bedroom issue for residences.
Because we'd also have to say, picking on Oasis Kennel again, that turned into a subdivision. Their allocation fee, even though it's a residential development, wouldn't be taxed at the residential allocation fee. It would be taxed or
Rated. Yeah. Billed.
rated at a commercial fee because that's a commercial development, even though it's ultimately going to feed residents. It's a larger, that's where your connection sizes come into play. You get charged this much for a 3/4 inch connection, this much for a 2-inch, this much for a 4, and stuff like that. So it's really just forget about what this says and sit down with the guys and
Figure out what it ought to be.
figure out what it ought
So
to
whatever it is, I'm looking at the clock, we have half an hour before we are supposedly a drop dead date, aren't we, or we go to 8:30.
I hope we're done.
We need to resolve the fact that we have to increase the rates on Monday.
be. Right.
So I think allocation fees should be something that's going to be done on January 3rd or whatever. Do it well in advance of the next time.
Yep.
I think meet with the guys, get a plan of action sometime,
Yeah.
earlier, but let's go and find out. I'd like to know whether we're gonna raise these rates enough to cover what the expenditures are.
Yep. Well, that
So
was a
I-
long way around answering Ann's question.
Yeah, really, yeah, but I think right now,
I agree with
Those are-
Jennifer. We need to focus
Yeah.
tonight. Having
Yeah.
said that, Paul, I just want to say the last time we had this conversation, in my recollection, was end of May, beginning of June, and I was totally, utterly overwhelmed by it at that time.
Yeah.
It feels like a manageable question to me, given all the progress we've made in the last 5 months. So
Right.
I do think coming back to it in the next quarter is really worthwhile.
and I think we should all assign it, and John should make a note. It goes on the December agenda to meet with the people so we can
Love it.
rationally discuss it in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I mean, I've got a real concern because we're gonna look a little foolish if we've, you know, underdone this.
Yeah.
So let's
I mean,
finish it
I
up.
was in such a panic, Patrick can tell you, that he got this email with a screaming title in it.
In
And I
caps.
almost throttled him that it took 12 hours to get back to me. But that was okay.
On a Saturday, I might add.
I sent it out on a Friday night, yes, I will have to admit.
So I guess the question then I have for that is, how do you know that your rates are going to meet your expenses? What
That's what
That-
we're working on.
what are we gonna
That-
use to decide that?
Okay, that is the problem, because the only thing we're resolving right now is resolving what we know is the definite shortfall. We did not have anything but an audit. We did this without even seeing what the current expenditures were. And so I'm really worried about that. I've got a printout of the current expenditures, which were in the packet, but you couldn't print them so they're readable. You know, and I still am concerned about that. We have not addressed that in this. We have not at all. So one of the things I can tell you is that I'm 99.9% sure we're going to raise the rates in the next quarter. This is a stopgap to cover the bleeding that turned up.
At the end of the
after-
fiscal year.
Yeah. And that is basically it. We have two things to the future we discussed because you guys weren't here at the last meeting. The 66,000 for the well redevelopment, that might not happen. That is a cushion. It should happen. It's only half of the well redevelopment. But it's sort of one of these things. So there is flexibility that is here if we need it. And because we don't know. I would not stake my life on this.
So I guess the other question that comes up is, how do you sell to the community the fact that you're gonna raise the rate now? It's really a stopgap to pay back stuff. We haven't included the expenses that are occurring now. And so we expect a rate change almost every quarter for, foreseeable future. That's a hard sell.
No, I don't think it is, Ian,
Well,
respectfully.
The problem is to get a handle on expenses in a situation where water use is going to be steadily declining over time as more and more people put in meters. And so the question is whether we
That's exactly
use
right.
this $50 figure, just to use round numbers, or whether we, put it up to 55 or 56 now, with the idea that we're heading into the low usage quarters, and we may not, and the usage component of the bills is going to drop for the next 2 quarters because we just came out of our high quarter of the year.
That's right.
I don't think $5 is essentially gonna do it for you, John, just.
Well, you mean, I just picked the
Yeah.
number out of a hat.
Yeah,
I don't know that it's
I
going to
just
do
think
it either.
it looks like it's going to be increasing almost every quarter. And I just think you need to think about how the community can understand that and get behind you on it.
Well, you're way ahead. We haven't even come to a conclusion yet. Like, we don't need to convey anything to the community before we settle on
Yeah.
confident numbers yet, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so like, can we back up a little bit and start going over your concerns and how we got to this point? Because we don't even have a message to send at the moment. So,
Yeah.
like, what I understand is that Jennifer has concerns that our calculations from last week are spread over 4 quarters and that we are going to have debts to pay in a matter of 2 quarters that do not add up
Yeah.
in time. So can you open that up a little bit more so that we're all on the same page? Because when I was working with you all last week, we had repeatedly done the division over 4
Yeah.
quarters.
Yeah. And my feeling was, and I just didn't know, I sent it out as sort of a question to everybody, if what we were doing of the summary of those numbers was that based on an annual basis, and was it an annual basis, but we had to collect all of that money, like the 3 payments on the sewer loan, in 2 quarters. That one we picked up, but the other ones didn't, and it was when I flowed not the rates, because that was clear, but the other half, which was, you know, how much we were gonna take in every quarter, which is on the back side. And, you know, water, I'm sitting there saying, oh, wait a minute, isn't it supposed to be, you know, 94,000?
Per
Yeah,
Well, we had a figure of 94,500 and divided by 2 quarters, divided by 1,475 users is how we came up with the $32.
yeah. And then in water, did we do the same thing, or did we not?
I mean,
Because sewer I thought was correct, I screwed that up unfortunately.
this is sewer I'm on.
Yeah, sewer is the top line, I'm so used to it being
87.
water.
I had 80s and then 30, so it was 100. I had 117,000
But-
for 2 quarters.
But for some reason, we lowered the 30 to,
Oh,
Well, we-
because that wouldn't be until
because that was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, postponed.
right. So right, the 84.5 was for 2 quarters, but the 119 for water was 4 quarters.
So we need to start
Yes.
breaking these out by quarterly
So the
dues.
sewer side, I think we're okay on. And yeah, the water got figured on a 4
On
quarter.
the 4 quarter, but it was the sewer that was going to have to be paid back faster.
Correct.
The water we were fine with 4 quarters,
Were we?
according to my notes.
Okay,
Well, the one aspect of that we might not be fine on is the audit balance figure, the 36-odd thousand, as I think about it.
No, it's right there.
Yeah,
We had it in there.
right, but dividing it over 4 quarters is the part I'm thinking of.
Oh, the
Yeah.
36,000 over 4 versus over needing to be back
Yeah.
in 2.
but
But
yeah,
36,000 over 2 I mean,
So
that's,
it's, yeah.
yeah, we're talking $20,000, we might be short, if that's all we're short.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think we all go out for a celebratory dinner. Yeah, and have water and sewer.
I was about to say I'll buy, but I'm gonna be more cautious.
Yeah,
So how many water users did we have? We had about 1,800 roughly?
yeah, yeah.
1783 according to Jennifer's
Yeah.
accounts.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
right, because our math came out.
And that's, you know, and now that goes up by the number of new meters that are here. This is the August number of meters.
Right.
Right.
Those
But it doesn't, it's not gonna make that much of a difference because it's all, you know, some that we don't have new meters that have been installed. I don't,
Because
new users added to the system.
because our 1801 was actually had 10,000 in there for that part-time,
Yeah,
and that divided out to 1792, so we did the 1801, so we're
Yeah.
bringing in a little more than we needed
Yeah.
anyway.
and,
And then
and the difference switching the audit figure from 4 quarters to 2 changes the 1792 to $22.92. It adds $5.
If we spread it, the cost across 2 quarters.
If
not
we
4.
spread the audit cost, the audit figure over 2 quarters rather than 4, so that that's even at the end of the next fiscal year.
My one curveball or wrench on the throw is like, hasn't there been some development on that staff cost that is not consistent with what we assumed last week?
I wasn't here last week, but I think what you're talking about was the possibility of hiring Pedro part-time.
Yeah.
Correct.
So my understanding is that Pedro has withdrawn his
So
application.
now we're talking a full timer.
We're back to searching for a full-timer.
Which
But
is-
I think Paul was already, Tom, the full-timer was already included in here.
No, we were just doing half part time.
No, because-
No, because it's already in the salary.
It's already in the
He
salary.
has,
Oh, it
he
is.
has a vacancy, so.
Okay.
So then,
So if anything, you're above on that one, right?
right,
Because
so we're fine.
I had pushed back actually with Tom's son before it became a moot point, saying that I was not prepared to just kind of sign off on what was in effect adding a half-time position
Okay.
midway through the year.
Because
And then Pedro kind of removed
full-time
the
was
issue.
still open.
The full-time is open and he's searching, and it will replace the departure of Ross Group,
Okay.
who was already budgeted.
So do we back out that 10 and 30?
We
No.
might,
I think you just leave it.
It's so,
I honestly don't know how we're gonna resolve this situation yet.
right.
Okay.
So I say, it's an imprecise science on this one, and we just leave it for the moment.
I mean, it would be nice to have what is potentially a cushion, considering we don't know
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
that's-
budget figures are going to go, and
I
I'm
agree.
sure.
That's fine. I just thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
instead of 40,000, it's going to be 85,000.
No,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah,
question.
That was, yeah, that would,
So yes, I suppose, and the other question is whether we change that 1792 to 2292 to condense the audit figure into 2 quarters.
And you think, John, that's enough to adjust for Jennifer's concern, that's,
Well, it takes care of what I think one issue is, as I think about it. So we, until we have a full year of expenses, particularly with the new accounting system, frankly, we're not really going to know.
that's right.
That's
Which is my answer, Ann, to your question, by the
Yeah.
way. The
That's-
answer is yes, we are gonna continue to tinker with this every quarter till we begin to get some kind of a new baseline.
Yeah, I just meant, I think it's important to
Yeah.
let people know that the reason that the tinkering needs to continue is because we're installing meters that we expect people will use less water, and therefore the rate will have to be
Yeah.
affected.
We have fixed costs in the
because
rates
the
of
fixed costs are such a high
And that
percentage.
actually ties into the drought.
yeah,
So there is a little awareness of
Yes,
the need
that's right.
to use less
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that too, because there are actually municipalities in Vermont that have had their municipal wells go dry or
Yeah,
pumps fail because
Well,
of lack of water.
and that's why we need to tighten up our system.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
okay.
one of the things is, and I didn't do it this time because there's no point, is to flow basically a percentage of what we think are gonna be new meters and lowering the amount of money we're gonna come in. So that's one of the things. The other thing we do have to resolve tonight, by the way, is about when we're going to do the cutoff on the new meters, so people understand.
Right, that's the next
Yeah.
agenda item,
Yeah.
once we get through this
Right.
one.
Yeah,
So honestly, my inclination is to be as conservative as possible and raise the rates to whatever point we think is gonna be what's needed. And if we can, go up less next time or even go down next time because we've overcalculated now, that's just fine with me.
So, or the other thing is, even if you don't go down, if you hold the rate steady
Exactly.
and start putting a little money into the
Into the
reserves.
cap fund.
Because obviously sooner or later, we're going to need that.
So this would actually need to go up 5.
Yeah, it works
Because,
out.
because it would be, this is in that number, which isn't needed anymore. So it would actually be
Yeah, it might
10,000
not be
less.
needed, yeah.
So, yeah,
but your $5 increase over 1,783 meters is $8,915.
right. And that's, I was just doing this math backwards.
Oh,
Yeah,
Well, I just took 18,000 divided by 2. I used 1,800 accounts for water, but it's actually 1,783.
yeah, well, that's close, 17 meters off.
It's close enough for this.
Yeah,
drawing.
yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just did
So the
half of,
So if we did 36,
Yeah. You were close, John.
Can we start at the top?
36,000.
Audit
Go ahead.
owed, 36,000 due to the, based on the audit, right?
Right.
Okay, please attach explanations to these numbers so that we.
Yeah, so then that's the only figure we're really talking about, and
So
we had included that or spread that over 4 quarters
Yeah.
along with everything else. So if we're going to spread that part of it over 2 quarters,
We need
that
more.
means we just need to accelerate the collection of
Yeah.
$18,000 by 2 quarters.
Yeah. hang on a
So,
second.
and that would give the
Which
$5.
means 9,000
Yeah.
per billing.
Yeah,
9,000 per billing divided
Which is
by
basically
1,800
$5.
users in round numbers is $5.
so your $50 increase is a $55 increase across.
Yeah, but don't forget, we also got 10,000 in there for speculated potential maintenance at a new tank, which we probably won't need.
And, yeah, that's true. We could leave it the same because of that. But we also are going to show we have 100 and however many meters that have been installed. All of those are going to drop
Right.
our income.
165 so far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or 90% of them
We-
say are
yeah.
gonna drop.
yeah. We can factor a 30% loss of income, I would say, on those particular meters.
On the gallonage part of it.
Yeah, yeah, on the overall rate. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? I have not seen a 30% decrease in.
What you were paying for a non-metered compared to a meter?
Yeah,
E-
Patrick is a
even
good
when-
example, actually,
even
'cause he
when-
just did it.
Even when not considering the increases in rates,
Okay.
I don't think we've anywhere near 30%.
You know what information we don't have, which Tom was supposed to get for us, was the well redevelopment.
The 66 thou,
Yeah.
Meaning what it was actually going to cost.
No,
If
whether or not it's
if they were
happening
even going to be able to do it.
this
I think
year.
we assume that they are,
No.
because we budgeted initially for that to take place this year. If we're wrong, wonderful.
what he was going to sound them out on was
Putting it on.
trying to put off at least part of it into the next fiscal year as to whether they'd be willing to hold the price, given that originally they were supposed to show up and start it months ago.
I mean-
They haven't yet.
I think we leave it. Based on my having to chase down Gosling wells for a different reason lately, like they're not doing anything that doesn't.
Well, this is
Relate
Weston and
to-
Sampson. This is engineering.
What I'm saying is like all the well companies are so focused on getting out of service wells activated that
That's right.
they're not going to prioritize a perfectly operational well right now. I don't think.
Right, but
But we still need
This-
to account for the money.
this
that-
money was for Weston and Sampson to do the study. This wasn't Ghostland's.
No, what I'm saying, no, I'm just saying, based on my problems getting a well company out to a site that isn't in dire need of water from drought.
Right, no, I understand that. But this 66,000 had nothing to do with a well company. This was an engineering company.
This is to get a company out to redevelop the wells, right? To
An
do.
engineering plan to redevelop the wells.
I
Not
thought-
an
Are you
act-
sure about that?
I don't think
thought it
that's
was
That's
right.
inspection.
This is the actual flushing and
That's what I
cleaning
thought.
of the well screen.
Well, then why is Tom getting his numbers from Weston and Sampson?
Because they're probably middlemaning something.
That's a good question.
I don't know, Paul. I really don't know the answer, and I don't know that I'm right. But my
Because
impression-
my understanding was this was a well redevelopment study, not a actual well redevelopment.
He made it sound like it was service.
I agree, I thought it was service.
I thought it was service, yeah.
Okay, I can ask
We'll
Tom.
figure that
Yeah.
out, but.
Yeah, let's ask it.
But either way,
because-
I think we keep it because we're on the hook for it eventually, right?
Yes.
yes,
That we are.
yeah.
Whether it's in April, May, or
July.
November, you know.
And if not, it can go into the Vector sinking fund, or it can go back to
We'll find a
funding
place for it.
the 5% capital investment
right.
fund that we have taken
We
out.
certainly have
Yeah.
other shortfall places.
Yeah, if there's spare money, I think we have places where we can safeguard it, as long as we don't tell Chip about it.
Alright, so if we take
He'll
this,
find it. I
I
guarantee
know,
he'll find it.
yeah, he will, but, you know, it's sort of, oh, really?
Yeah.
If we have money sitting aside,
this,
where it goes is into the 5% cap that we said we
Yeah.
would create.
Yeah.
And if we have money at the end of that, then it just means we adjust our rates down for the following quarter.
Yeah,
Or depending on how expenses go, simply not increase them.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right. I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's
Start putting money towards that
Yeah.
SIAS main.
as long as.
I think you've got an
yeah,
ulterior motive.
Yeah,
I don't want my house burning down because a fire hydrant runs dry, you know, like that's the thing.
do you realize
Well,
that
the whole
line
reason
serves
for
one
doing
on
these
Missionary
sidewalks
Acres
is
that's in Derby?
Do I
What's
realize
that?
what?
That line
The
services a
reason-
house
initial
in
reason
Missionary
for doing
Acres
the
on
side
Derby.
water tower was because the houses on the bluff did not have adequate water pressure in all of the fire hydrants to
Yeah.
put out fires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are absolutely coming around in circles on the questions about that east side water stuff. So
I bet.
we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So,
alright, so our water rate for the next 2 quarters needs to be 2165.
okay, so pause. So that's 202,000 loan portion due divided by 4 plus.
So this 202
Yep.
plus 10,000 for the tank
Yep.
maintenance.
Plus 36.
This is how I did it.
Okay.
So 202 plus 10 is 212 minus the 195 that's already in the budget is
Okay.
17 plus the 66,000 is 83,000, which equals a rate of 1159. Now if you that's for 4 quarters.
okay.
Now to get that 36,000 into the next 2 quarters
Yeah.
is another $10.06, so a total of $21.65 for the next 2 quarters to take care of what is owed
By the end of the 2 quarters.
by the end of the 2
Okay.
quarters.
Okay. Thank you for going through that.
That's
'cause I
really
need-
helpful.
I need
And you've
that.
got that written down so we can come back to it 2 months from now and remember what we did. Right?
So what are we?
Yes, but I need
refine it.
to type descripters. I just have numbers in front of me right
Okay.
now.
So as opposed to everything else, in 2 quarters, we're gonna raise 86,000? Is that the figure? As opposed,
2165 for water.
Okay, so I'm
For the
gonna
next
plug
2
this
quarters.
into Jennifer's
So if you
sheet.
plug that into the spreadsheet,
Which is what Patrick is doing.
All right, I'm doing that right now. And before you go any further, Jennifer, I gotta ask, what's with these few oddball rates? 1987, 1336, and 18. I'm in your spreadsheet. This is water.
spreadsheet.
This is
Yeah.
your new tax fee increase. So these.
that was, some of those odd ones were to bring them,
Sorry.
they're some of the quirkies, if you see them, they're like 1 or 2 places, I think. Because most of them are standard,
And those are the ones that you tweaked yourself.
and must have, I wish, let me see if I can get my,
Okay,
Sheet
well,
up.
while she's looking at that, if we're talking a 2165 increase in the water rate, that generates 37,300 in 1 quarter, 74,600 in 2 quarters. That's not accounting for some reason she had slightly lower rates for residential water, vacant water, and
no, you must be looking at the initial figures because they're all the same. Can't see that. Still can't. Yeah, you don't wanna know. Did I not put titles on this?
it's way up there. Yeah.
That's that's the increase, these are the base rates. So that's, yeah, you did it, and what it was to get, something that was close. One of them was adjusted because for some reason it didn't equate. The seasonal ledges didn't equate to the right thing, but that's gonna be close enough, because any of the odd ones are all incredibly minor.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
just assume a flat increase of 2165 for
Yeah.
all accounts,
Yeah.
regardless of the category.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we got some, there's one that's only going up $13. That's what was on here, so we're doing water. So these are the quirks. Residential water, to bring it up to something, it was $19.89, which is the flat rate. They're going up more because of just the quirk of the schedule. S is, God, who's that? That's the ledges, because they didn't equate across properly. And then the 4 is VAW water.
vacant water.
Yeah, vacant.
So-
Same thing. So I made it so vacant water, the regular water, metered and non-metered was all 83. And then with the ledges, it is over 4 quarters, you divide it back, you get the 60 to 25. So they're paying for only 2 quarters worth of, don't worry about it.
I'm not following, but all,
They're paying for they're paying over 4 quarters for 2 quarters worth of service, or 3 quarters worth of service. Which is what the figure had been when you take it back to its original figure that we had in there.
And you're satisfied with the sewer rates as is?
hold on, can we stick to water?
Stick to
Yeah.
water, please.
Yeah,
So, what I'm having trouble with is when you put in 2165 for increasing these rates, because you have kept constant the $83 rate for plant or vacant water, seasonal ledges,
Yeah.
residential water base.
the only
And-
one that's gonna be off, how much, okay, what is the figure we're looking for, 24 what?
2165.
2165.
So the one I'm looking at, Jennifer, is, which spreadsheet of hers are you in, Patrick?
Proposed increase on August connections 1016 or whatever.
So, cause each one of those has a different increase.
Okay.
Oh, no, not underwater, I was looking under sewer, never mind. 1801, 1808,
Yeah, the only one that isn't is the residential water. So we wanna bring it up to the same, so what is the meter, do you have what the metered increase would be? Okay, I can do it. Okay, 2165. So 2165, okay, can we do this something round? This is horrible. So that's 104.65 would be the base rate, all right? So, is that right?
For who? Residential?
Yeah, because what it is it's the base rate plus the usage rate is how we get that. So it should increase by 2165 also to a 2165. So you should potentially be fine on that. It's not, is it? If we decide on that increase, we'll flow it. You know, and potentially their increase is gonna be different, but what we wanna do is make it that they are the base rate plus the 13.5 gallons is how it was originally designed. So you know everybody is at the base of the 13.5. So what it is if you take $83 and you add on 13.5 usage, you will get the $28. Or you should.
I have tried very hard to follow, but I'm not.
I know,
At
you
all.
know, yeah, and I'm just.
Alright, I just sent everybody my calculations.
Okay.
I'm off the hook.
I would have to plug it into my, there's a sub sheet that you
As
haven't
cryptic
seen on
as they
this.
are, I think you'll
Okay.
understand them.
Okay.
These are for 1 quarter and 2 quarter. What are the 2 columns?
Did you just get it?
Yeah.
So the first column is, come on. The first column is what we started with last week.
Okay.
Second column is I removed the audit.
Okay.
So that was what the boxed in one is what the rate would need to be for 4 quarters to cover that stuff. And then the third column over is just the rate
To cover
For-
the audit owed.
for the audit owed, and then add the
Sum
two
the
together.
two.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I ask one other question? I thought we started the conversation this evening. I thought Jennifer started us with a conversation about labor and equipment charges or something. Am I missing something? On the bottom of that spreadsheet that Jennifer provided, you all talked about that first, and I hadn't been at the previous meeting, so I wasn't entirely sure what we were discussing.
Those were the equipment rates that we realized we have to
Right.
speak
Yeah.
more clearly
I
with.
see, but we're not gonna answer that question this round.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't missing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. So we need to generate $39,000 per quarter for 4 quarters. No, for the first 2 quarters, right? That's the 2,750 plus the half of the 18,000 per quarter, or plus the 18,000, right? So about 39,000. If I'm plugging in the 2165
Yeah.
properly in Jennifer's calculations, we're just shy. We're at 37,300 for the first
What
quarter.
happens if you do $22 even?
Well, what I'm saying is that's me plugging in these numbers, except not using the 2165 for some reason for the residential water, the seasonal ledges, and the vacant water, because those were not treated the same.
What my feeling is, all you end up doing is add $5 on to every single one of these rates. That would be 2301 as opposed to 1801, which is a little bit higher, but that's $5. That should raise 5 times 1783,
Which is about $9,000.
which is we're looking for $9,000.
Okay, well, conversely, if we put every rate at a 2165 increase, we're hitting $38,600 per quarter. So it's whether or not we want to add $5 on top of 18 or unilaterally increase everything by 2165. I don't really have a preference.
My feeling is it would be much better now to take this time when you're working with the base rates to align so everybody's paying the base rate. There is no reason why basically the metered people are paying one base rate. They're paying slightly different base rates. This aligns all of the base rates, which unfortunately with the residential water, their base rate got kicked up, so it's on 15,000 gallons is what you would have to do on the metered rate to get the same rate. And so this just readjusts that whole thing. I tried to straighten it out before. What I didn't realize was how across the board it is. And to figure rate increases from now on, it would be really easy because any gallons under 13.5 are basically all the same price. So it's easy enough to calculate what is the effect of your increase if you just keep these idiot figures increase in there and do $5. I mean, I don't like to say that when, obviously we could do it for $3. I'm not sure why one way we get 5 and one way we get 3. That sort of bothers me.
Honestly, y'all, I think you just need to make a decision.
I do too.
I mean,
where we feel like we're generating enough revenue to get us over the first two
yeah,
quarters.
all we gotta do is whatever calculation you create, I wanna make sure that you can explain what you think you did to the council. And then we just go for another quarter and see how we're doing again. We know that this isn't an exact science.
Yeah. I mean, this just aligns everybody, so everybody's on a level playing field. It's
So-
gotten a few cents off.
I'm not wrapping my head around what you're saying there so you're saying we have to go to 5 to realign everybody?
Well, that's what John ended up saying, is that that's going to raise the, about $9,000. But do we not need the 9,000 increase over the 33?
So that's what I just sent shows, is that 21,
I know, I don't know why it's not the same.
so
It's
because the $5 he was adding to
the proposed increase.
adding to the proposed increase, which already had the 36 in it over 4 quarters.
Yeah,
So it was a double dip
okay,
for 2 of the quarters.
Because we need to pay the 36,000 in 2 quarters,
Because we
not
were at
4.
1792 with that 36 over 4 quarters, and then we divided 36 by 2 quarters and just added it back on.
okay, so what do we need to raise in a
But
quarter?
I didn't add the whole 36, I used 18 to get to the $5. In other words, I added only the extra 18.
Right. I mean, so
So 18,000 divided by 1,800 users is 10 divided by 2
so
quarters is 5.
18,000 divided by 1790 is $10.06. Of our other numbers, if we divide our other numbers over 4 quarters, comes to $11.60. So you add the 2 together, it comes to 2165
Mhm.
for the next 2 quarters.
Okay, and that also deducts the whole part-time employee issue.
It deducts the part-time employee.
Okay, so
So
we're,
that's where the difference comes in.
okay,
And it's making sure that we have enough money at the end of the first 2 quarters to pay our bills.
So if you want to go to an even $22, we should be fine.
so let's just do it that we add then $4 on to everybody's base rate. That will realign everybody, which I think will make it easier as we go through.
Adding $4 onto the 18 that we proposed
So-
initially.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it would be, the increase would be 2201.
If we just start with $22,
Yeah.
we're looking at 39,226 generated additionally in the first quarter.
And
But
Yeah.
but again, that's assuming that
And
every
18 of that needs to go to
yeah,
the audit deficit.
yes, yes,
Right, to reconcile for last year.
yes. But that again is assuming that every category of water user goes up $22. It doesn't change per industrial, commercial, base, metered, unmetered. Everything going up.
I think you should do it so everybody is on the same level. I think that's very important going forward.
So you're saying the same thing Patrick just said.
No, I'm saying that we end up where we're going to be, there still is going to be, if we're gonna add $4 onto the $18 rate on the general one, still the residential water will end up being more. It'll be $4 onto the $19.87 that is here. So they will go up more, but it will cure the discrepancy that happens because of the what had happened with the rate schedule.
But ultimately, there are industrial users that are going to need to pay a higher base rate because of the tax, because
This-
of what they the demand they put on the system.
This is true. Our problem is we don't have that many industrial ones that are there
Right, but
because
even if it was
yeah.
just one,
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think until we realign all of the schedule, it's better to keep this
right,
the way it is. And then you can sit there and say, if you are a base user, you are paying the same amount as the residential person using that same amount on a meter.
right. But, so why did I get a meter installed? That's the next question.
Because if you don't
Right.
use 13.5, you save money.
Not if my base has gone up.
No, no, because everybody's base is going up.
Right. So 13.5, so if I don't use 13.5, I'm just gonna pay the base.
You're paying the base and the price per gallon under 13.5 per gallon. Because 13.5 is what we used as the point where it increases. So 13.5 plus the connection fee should be equal to what a non-metered person is paying. So at this point, I came without any sheets that tell me what our 13.5 is over and under. So that's, if we have that,
Right.
I could show you.
Yeah.
Do you have the base, the per 1,000 gallon, right?
For,
Under
per 1,000
13.
gallons is 76.40 water purchase per 1,000 gallons. What do you,
No, that's, Jesus, I think that's, if you're,
fine,
that's
so
the
I'm
wrong
pulling-
thing. No, we want the metered rate. It's not on any of those sheets that I sent.
No. I also
No,
wanna make
no,
a,
I would, the per 1,000 gallon rate. Trying to think when I might have sent it out.
I'm looking.
It's on, if we have the rate increase that the city did, the last rate increase, that's the one that tells you, under 13.5, you pay $3 or whatever, and over 13.5, you pay this. One was $8.01 or something, and the other one is 5 or something. May I suggest we meet Monday morning?
I have absolutely no availability next week
I know.
whatsoever. I don't wanna throw a wrench here, but all the numbers that I've just been spitting out at you are wrong, because the spreadsheet that I'm working on, isn't set up properly. So like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
when I add a new increase,
Mhm.
it actually changes the previous rate, because you're trying to back out the increase.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that one was just showing what the increase was, yeah,
Yeah, so,
okay.
I'm gonna work on this while you
All right,
guys.
so.
Sorry,
the-
yeah, it's absolute reverse.
Okay, sorry.
Under 13.5 is 329. Over 13.5 is 810.
Okay,
Connected residential is 110.02. Non-meter, hang on.
I'm,
Yeah.
just gonna work through these right now. Okay, hang on. Not used to using this thing. Okay, 44. Okay, so if you take the 83, which is what the meter base rate is, and you do 13.5
So-
times $3.29, you get $127.41 for ease, I rounded it up to $28. We could round it up to
So-
$127.50.
Hang on, the 80? Oh, if you're talking the proposed, what the proposed connection rate would be,
Yeah, even under the old connection rate.
which was the
is-
64.94.
Yeah. The 64, if you take the 64.94, you'll find out that that's where it goes wrong, 64.94.
99.
99, okay. Okay, I can just do it here easily. Plus 44.41. Okay, so what was the old base rate for if you were a residential non-metered? What's the flat rate?
110.02. That's as of May.
Okay. Why does that not work out? Okay, 110.02, and if you do the base rate plus the other one, you get 109.04, which is not,
So it's a few pennies off. I know I'm water only and I paid 110.02 on the bill that was just due.
okay. So what we're suggesting is that you go up to 128. So
128 on the connected non-metered?
I'm trying to think if that's wrong. So you paid residential water,
110.02 plus
110.02 plus
21.65.
21, yeah.
2 and 5 is 7, 67. It
Yeah.
would be 131.67. Would be
The new connected unmetered.
new connected unmetered water only rate, 131.67.
I wonder why it's saying it's going up that much.
Because we're adding that 2165 to everybody's connection fee.
No, I mean, no, I'm looking at my figures that are here, where I got 128 and said that that was going to be a $19.87 increase over the current rate.
Was it just rounded off somehow? Because
That's-
you were working with 1801.
I think I must have hit a wrong figure in there. Because it would be less than $18. So that's, somehow I calculated it there wrong. So the increase in that is wrong. But it doesn't make a difference because it's gonna be,
Well, if we think that 2165 gets us as close as we can get it for all practical purposes, should we just ratify that and
That's my answer.
talk about
Yeah,
sewer
I think
side?
2165 will get us
You
there.
know, we keep doing minutia numbers as if somehow there's a rationale for them, and the truth is, we're just, it continues to be shots in the dark at the moment anyway.
Right.
it does, but I think.
It's good to have a rationale, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, right?
I
Again.
would still recommend that going with these, I would see if we can at least get it, so if somebody says, how much is the, rate for non-metered, you can say $128 as opposed to, $127.93.
That's fine.
That's the
So
only
propose
thing.
it, just round them off and propose it.
Yeah, that's what I would say, is just get it so we do, the base rate is going to, for almost everybody, be 21, whatever the rounding of 2165 is, to make it, something that's 50 cents, 75 cents, or zeros.
So just
Would-
round it off to the nearest $quarter as a matter of
Yeah.
policy?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna start a new spreadsheet here.
Why did you say almost everybody?
Is it because of the
I don't know why I said that.
Okay.
What were
Okay,
the other
'cause-
words around it that I was saying?
Yeah,
Because I'm thinking everybody.
I'm saying almost everybody, because if you round their rate to the nearest quarter dollar, it's going to be basically $21.65 for everybody.
All right.
Too bad.
And just to be clear, just because I know I will get this question, what we're saying is that everybody's rates, metered or unmetered, are going up the same amount.
Everybody's. So what's not going up is the metered water rate. The metered connection rate
Yes,
is going up.
understood.
But not the per gallon or
Got
per
it.
1,000 gallons.
I got it.
we're now tinkering with the
Yeah.
gallonage
Right.
rates
The
at
usage,
this point.
effectively.
The usage.
I
Okay.
understand.
But I think you're going to see, if we do it for either the 50 cents, the 25 cents, et cetera, there'll be some variables which is within, should be within $1.
Okay,
Okay, so I have taken our table from our recommendations in April and put them in a spreadsheet. I've got water and sewer in all of our categories from our last recommendations, okay? So I'm adding 2165 to our May 2025 rates, right?
Yeah.
For only connection fees, not metered usage rates.
To the 64.90.
To the 64.99, to the 110.02,
Yep.
okay, to the seasonal ledges,
Yep. To the connected industrial commercial. To the
what about the residential non-metered fee? Yes,
resident? I'm looking at where do you residential? That's
That's
connected
all I got here.
residential.
so
Yeah.
it was 110.02 to 131.
Right.
Connected above ground ledges goes up $21.
Yep.
Industrial commercial connection fee, up 21.
Yep.
Connected outside of city boundary, up 21.
Yep.
Vacant land with connection fee. So we're charging
Yes.
85, 83 for a vacant lot, which might not be utilizing water, but there's only like 5 of them.
Right.
So whatever.
But why not just make it $83?
I'm just
Yeah.
making sure
Okay.
we're applying the
Yeah.
increase and then we'll round up. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. But water turn on, turn off. Are we going up 2165?
No.
No, because that'll
Okay.
be part of the labor rate
That's-
discussion.
yeah.
And no after hour, same for the
No.
after hours.
Yeah.
Meter swimming pool,
Yeah.
we're not changing.
And
No,
I-
it's,
I-
it's
'Cause that's a
just,
metered rate.
it's just the meters,
Water purchase per 1,000 gallons, not going
No.
up.
no. It does
Okay.
not have a connection fee.
Okay.
This is just to the connection fee.
And so now we want to round to the nearest one, right?
Nearest 25 or 50 or zeros.
You know how to do that in Excel? Because I don't.
No, I don't. You
Let's
just,
round up.
just round up to the nearest dollar.
Yeah.
and then we can adjust some down because, well, it should,
Yeah,
because you're gonna miss the 75 and the,
well,
I say up only. We don't
I
want
say
to
that's
come
being
short
picky.
yet.
yeah, there's another quirk that enters into some of that labor and fee structure that I just thought of, which is that the disconnection statute by state law places caps on some of those rates that are lower even than what we have in this chart. So you have to distinguish between
oh, thank you.
collection rates
And
and
disconnection.
regular rates.
Oh, oh.
We should do this, okay,
So,
if we're
yeah,
doing
so
this,
anyway, well-
that should be 86.75. We can do that if we wanna
Getting
be
into
really
that more.
close.
Close with what?
That's interesting, why is this different? We should have, that is your residential, and that should be the same, and,
Vacant land with connection fee?
yeah, because it just makes it easier. Because you don't know, because that can be the same as just a place that is just not using, yeah, and do that 86.75. And the ledges,
So why are we massaging things?
I don't really understand.
I don't either, Jennifer, honestly.
okay,
I think it's-
do what you want, I just,
It
yeah.
becomes an undefendable process.
Okay.
You've got something that's
Right.
totally consistent across the board, and then you start tinkering with every
Right.
one of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just.
The only reason for rounding is that the people downstairs would said it
They'll
would make
complain no matter what.
their lives easier.
I mean, it's just changing a number. The system does.
That's right. It doesn't matter. It's like when
Yeah.
you say I'm going to pay
It's-
$8.24 for my
it's
gas,
just
or
trying to
$8.25. I feel better when it's
Yeah.
$8.25. It makes absolutely no difference.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it makes sense to try and tinker with it, because then we lose any ability to just.
The
give people
only
a clear
thing you
explanation.
have to do is make the vacant the same as the connected fee. That you should do. Because there's no reason why a vacant lot that they can turn on is at a different rate than if I have water flowing through. That's one of the things that got totally out of whack. There are 4 vacant that are
So
going
you're
to go
saying
up
the
a
vacant lot should pay
the same as a
130?
base rate. No, they should
She's
pay.
saying that whether or not you're using water, if you have a hookup, you're paying the same as
Yeah.
a vacant lot hookup or a residential hookup.
Yeah.
If you're residential and you have a hookup and you're using water, you also pay in addition to the usage.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It is
Can we
a
fix that?
connection fee. The connection fee should be, what I did was, it was $83.
Because they're at. Hang on, I can't find it right now.
They're at
They're at
just,
64.18. They're gonna go up to 85.83. We're gonna round to 87 so that it matches with the residential metered connection.
So
fee.
they're only 70 cents off from the connection fee.
Yeah.
yeah, but you don't, when they turn on the water, we aren't gonna know it. That's why we're charging them. So why aren't we charging them as if they could turn on the water and
At any moment.
at any moment?
Well-
It just, I don't care if it's 70 cents, it just is not equitable for all of us ones who
Well,
are paying.
So, one, if they turn on their own water to a vacant lot, they should be fined by the city because our city employees should be the only ones turning valves in the system.
In a perfect world.
Well,
I
right,
can't go turn my water off and on at the curb stop?
you're not supposed to.
Shit, I just broke the law last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say, nobody mentioned when you're sitting there saying,
No,
oh, I
I mean,
turned
that-
the water
that
on in
should
the
be in
Bayview
the
Motel.
ordinance.
Ooh.
That's hilarious, because I really did. I went up and looked and looked, trying to figure out where the curb stop was so I could test the water in
Well,
the house.
the people that built the house I live in set it up specifically so they could do that every fall because they winterized the house and went to Florida
Right.
and did it themselves. They
You're-
just shut it off.
So you're messing with a
Yeah.
public potable water system.
Yeah.
That is a no-no.
All right, duly noted.
Anyway, the reason, the vacant fee used to be incredibly
All
low.
I've been through, I'm gonna
And-
do time on the messing with
Yeah.
the potable water system now.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, you weren't metered, so, my God, how many gallons did you use? What happened was, when we ended up saying, the problem is with a vacant lot, they could end up connecting, and nobody would know because the connection is live. So they should have, if there's a connection fee, to be connected to the water system. They should pay that, yeah.
I'm fine with, it's peanuts, I'm fine
Yeah.
with that, but I'm just saying that,
It's peanuts, it started Clark Curtis on a rampage.
All right,
but
so
yeah.
fix it and let's move on.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
fixed.
All right,
Okay,
can we move
everybody,
on?
we're at, just to recap, for final proposed residential metered connection fee, $87. Unchanged from May is the metered rate per thousand over 13.5 and the meter rate per thousand under 13.5. What's gone up to one residential non-metered fee, residential non-metered is now 132.
The same increase as the connection fee for metered.
Rounded up
Fair
to the
enough.
near dollar.
Yep,
Connected above ground seasonal ledges, $71. Industrial commercial connection fee, $211. Connected outside of city boundary, $211. Vacant land with connection, $87. Unchanged is water turn on off, water turn on off after hours, swimming pools, and water purchases per thousand.
okay.
Okay, now let's do sewer.
We got it. So,
Right?
Yep,
Sewer, I think we're fine.
yeah, sewer, I believe we're,
Okay.
And basically, you can say it's going up $32
Right.
because some are going up $32.01, some are going up $32.07.
fair enough.
And
Okay.
they already are,
yeah.
Okay, so
equalized. In this case, we did the apartments are 40 cents and, you know, some are 80 cents because
Well,
I was keeping to the 32.
All of those categories are not included in what we recommended last round. So this is the only thing we have included for sewer. Meter connection, meter per thousand, residential non-metered, industrial connection, outside the city, vacant land.
That's it. Yep.
So that's it. So let's stick with
Keep
that.
it
So
consistent from last
what's
time.
not changing is the metered rate per thousand, over or under 13.5, right? What's not changing, that's it. That's the
That's
only
it.
two that are not changing.
Yep.
Residential connection, metered connection fee is changing, residential non-metered fee is changing, industrial, commercial connection fee is changing, outside of city bounds is changing, which is $905 per quarter
There's one of them.
for sewer, outside of city boundary. That is a major bill.
That's Derby Plaza up
okay,
there.
okay, and
It's
then,
Derby what?
It's the Derby Time Mall.
The play where Green Mountain Electric and the
Yes,
hearing
yeah.
aid place
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
wow, Jesus.
That just happens to be what it is, and we increased it the same as everybody else. Yeah.
Okay, so, everything except,
Somebody's gonna have to help me when they call me to complain.
yeah,
It's a $32 increase. They didn't
it's
tell
a
you.
$250 since April.
They haven't called yet.
Yeah.
Might explain why you have 400 water users that are late in their payment.
Do we really? Wow.
Yep.
But why, I don't understand. What is it about that commercial hookup that makes it so much higher than everything else?
I really don't know what the heritage is. We just, when we did the increase, we did a percentage increase, and they just have gone up with everybody else. Why it started at that, you'd have to go back to ages, and I think it really was, I don't even think it was the committee I was on, because it was not so out of whack at that point.
There's, half a dozen businesses up there. I mean, Green Mountain Electric uses next to nothing because it's a warehouse.
Right?
Yeah,
And
But there's
they
the
have
hairdresser,
they have
yeah.
bathrooms, but then there's the optometrist, the hairdresser, the hearing aid place. I've forgotten what else is in
Yeah.
there. Now, Dr. Namara used to be there, but she's gone, and I don't know what replaced her. But
it's I think now a salon type thing also.
yeah,
Okay, so just to be clear, we're talking about the entire building.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get divided among
Oh, yeah.
five
Yeah.
different users.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
That's- that's the piece you and I
That's
were not
why
covering.
I said it's the
Thank you,
building, yeah,
okay.
Derby Times Square.
That's why nobody's pounded my door down
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, we had that in.
I was freaking out.
You should have seen what Lake Shore Plaza was paying, or Miller up
I
at
got
this
you.
place,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay, so just to finalize, we've got some spare change in these rates. Are we going to simplify these numbers like we did with water? So for instance, meter
That's-
connection fee ends at 93
Are we,
cents.
are we
gonna go to
changing this
140?
at all from my 3201?
We have not. Well, I
So-
just added 32, I didn't add 01.
Okay, well, why don't we just go with what I printed out if we're not changing that? Why are we reinventing the wheel? That's
Because you're going rogue here. You got 01, 05, 07
Yeah.
without really any
You-
justification. That's why I'm just trying to be dumb and stupid and simple. You know? Like,
Okay, all right.
is that okay?
Yeah, but you're getting a more of a spread by just doing it because we're rounding to the nearest 25 or 50. Some of those spreads are quite a bit more.
You made
than
us
what
do
it
that.
is.
yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't like the fact that we had, 7 users who were out of whack with everybody
All
else.
right.
Yeah. So the other question we have, if I can find-
Actually, before we move on to the next agenda item, just a quick question. How is this, what we've just done, gonna translate into an intelligible report that I can put in a packet on Friday for the council?
Well, Patrick can send it to me, we'll see what we can write up.
If you write me something similar to the last report you did, so the council's seeing the same kind of thing again, and then
That was Paul.
That was me.
can you do that again?
Oh.
Do you need me to send you what you
Let me
sent
call
last
it
time?
back up and see.
I'm just thinking, you know, the council's gonna have a hard enough time trying to get their head around this.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
why, so, why I'm not a huge fan of rounding stuff. We have a number, we have the calculations to support
Do
it.
it whichever way. I mean, I've lost my point, so we, you know, we can do it on everything and just do it straight
Because
increase.
I agree with Paul.
Okay, taking out the roundings then.
Okay, please do, because honestly, I think Paul's right. Then you just have to start trying to make explanations happen for things that had no rationale behind them.
I'll go talk to Stacy in the morning.
We all like to go home.
Tell me about
So,
We
Paul,
started
if
at
you,
6:30,
I'm
so
looking
I
for
better-
that, has anybody?
I could probably go back to that March 31st.
I can send
or
it to
April-
you
April
easily if
30th.
I go home.
April 30th.
Meeting and send you what I have.
I have it open right now. What do you need?
Task force budget, I'm looking.
Patrick's got it here.
Yeah, I got it right.
Patrick's got it on the screen, so.
Okay.
And then
I'm
who's,
looking for my, do you have it in Word? It's
Yeah.
gotta be in here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it.
so you'll just send it back to Paul so he's got it again?
I'll send you the recommendations from May and this table that we just
May 29th?
made.
No, April 30th, or, right, it was what we approved on April, 30th is after September, April.
29th.
April
Well,
30th.
we want the date of Paul's email that he sent it.
Okay. Well, this one says April 30th.
There you go, that's it.
Phase 1,
Phase one.
April 30th,
Yep.
got it. Just
Yeah.
found it.
Okay. Now,
So you
one
want
last question
something
about
like
this.
this.
So Paul, by noon on Friday, you're gonna get me something that looks similar to that has the rate increases you all just agreed on for both water and sewer.
That is what I'm going to try to do.
All right, now, here's my last question about this. Who from this group is available on Monday night to answer any questions that the council members raise?
I'll be in Ohio.
That's a no.
Monday.
John will be there.
Can you forward me
John-
that
John can
spreadsheet,
do it.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
John's available, and Jennifer, will you be around?
Yeah,
Said it's
Okay.
6:30.
We're good. I think if we have Jennifer and John,
okay.
any more, we just add to the confusion.
We should be okay.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you. Bless you all. Now, what's your next question on the agenda?
So the next issue is the one that started to make a recommendation on Monday night and then pulled the plug, and since then, both Jennifer and I have had long conversations with Stacy about what she was trying to get at. And so I sent an email yesterday, I guess it
Yeah.
was, with following my conversation with her. So the issue is, how do you handle the billing at the end of the quarter in which the meter is installed? And our consensus at the end of the last meeting was that the billing for that quarter should be at the prior flat rate, and then we start
Start
on
fresh
the
with
new
that
quarter.
following quarter.
Well, what I found out in my conversation is that ever since they started putting meters in 10 years ago, in the absence of any guidance or direction from anybody, they made a command decision downstairs, which is this. If the meter is installed during the first half of the quarter, the billing is based on the meter reading at the end of the quarter, as if the meter were there for the whole quarter. It starts from
Understood.
the initial reading to whatever.
So they get a break,
Yeah,
slight
yeah.
break.
So they get a slight break, a couple bucks. If the meter is installed during the second half of the quarter, they bill at the flat rate. And because of the way that the meter reading software interfaces with the NEMRIC program, what they do to accomplish that is, using the current quarter as an example, anybody whose meter was installed in the current quarter prior to September 15th, or through the close of business on September 15th, I should say, has been entered in NEMRIC. Beginning the morning of September 16th, for meters installed that date or subsequently in the quarter, they are not entering them in NEMRIC. They're accumulating them, and they'll enter them after the bills are generated at the end of this month. So they'll enter them at the beginning of November, and that way they'll start clean. Because what happens is, when they go out with the meter reading equipment, It simply reads whatever meters are floating around out there and sending radio signals.
Yeah.
They don't have a way of distinguishing
What belongs to what?
So
otherwise. So they had to pick, and the original rationale behind doing it this way was the city loses a couple bucks on one, gains a couple bucks on the other, it all comes out in the wash. And there may or may not be a manual labor hand calculation workaround to all this. But the theory was that the amount of labor expense involved in
It's
trying
not
to
worth it.
override the system was way more than the few dollars one way or the other that are out of whack each quarter.
I agree with all of that. So what is the
And would you-
solution?
So the recommendation, in a nutshell, is that we simply ratify what they've been doing for the last 10 years.
Love it.
So that they have an official
Yeah.
policy in writing
Yeah.
rather than,
It ain't broke, don't
Yeah.
fix it.
Because one
Yeah.
of the things is that the people ultimately pay for the gallons they use.
I honest to God don't care what the rationale is. If this has been the practice for the last 15
Yeah.
years, I think it's entirely appropriate to say we're going to complete the process of water meter installation
Yeah.
using the same practice we've been using the
Yeah.
last 15
and
years.
they would just feel better if it's
If we,
ratified by the
okay,
council.
so this is a solution that was in search of a problem that didn't exist. So,
And no, not really, what, they have no backing, so the council,
okay,
Yeah.
but so let's fix it for them. John, can you come to the meeting Monday night with a motion to that effect?
Sure.
All right, here we go. I will.
Some people are gonna scream.
That's why I wrote the
Who's
memo
going to scream?
from the point of view of
They're still
reminding
paying for
myself.
the water.
Who's still paying for the water?
They're paying for the water the next quarter that they use.
Let 'em
for the
scream.
next quarter. Yeah.
Honest to God, we've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
We're treating everybody the same way.
Yeah.
This one's not even hard.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I hope not.
Oh my God. I just have to say,
Oh my God.
I may sound exasperated. I am not.
Did you
This is
send me-
amazing
yeah.
what you all are
Okay.
doing. So thank you, really, truly.
yeah.
You know, I was thinking tonight about how much higher our rates would have to be if we had hired a professional firm to come in here and try and sort this out for us. Right, so,
Wait, I'm not getting paid for this?
you mean you've been billing your hours and
I fucking write them down every time.
Okay.
Everything I do, written down here.
He's very precise that way. So when is our next scheduled water and sewer meeting?
I think we ought to take a week or two.
I think you need a
and
week
regroup.
off at least. I agree.
Definitely.
We get bills next month.
Yeah, in November, so let's look at the calendar here. So yeah, definitely nothing next week. Do we want to try to meet, say, on Thursday, May 6th, to start the discussion about?
November
May
6th, I trust, not
May
May.
6th.
I like that.
November
I'm
6th,
good
sorry.
with that.
Getting
I'm
tired,
gonna
Mike.
be out of town, but I can zoom in.
I'm gonna be out of town and will not be able to zoom in.
Okay.
Okay.
So take 2 weeks off.
Realistically speaking, yeah, if we take 2 weeks off and come back on Thursday the 13th,
I will not be here.
and then hopefully by then I can go through all the possible ordinances and so on that purport to set fees and come in with at least all of the information.
Love it.
You know, I started when I ran across some of that the other day, I thought, well, that just throws another wrench into that discussion.
So you have a date, the 13th?
So Thursday, November 13th, 6:30 PM.